One great ad can change your business. It can triple your ROAS more than any funnel fix that you could ever think of. And if you're watching this video, your ads are probably losing money, maybe break even, or maybe you're making a little bit, but you want to make a hell of a lot more. Your sales team is complaining about bad lead quality coming from meta ads. You don't know what type of ads to make, but you know that your ads could be better. Or you're stuck tweaking landing pages and funnels thinking that's going to be the key to unlocking your success with meta ads to make them more profitable. I've spent $700,000 of my own money on ads. I've made thousands of ad creatives. And I'm gonna tell you in this video how to make banger ads that actually make you crazy profitable on Meta. Because the actual ad is the highest leverage piece of your entire client acquisition process. Like if you look here in this video, David Ogilvy is a legend, and he says that on average, 5 times as many people read your headline as the actual body copy, which basically means that 80 cents of your marketing dollar has been spent after the hook of your ad has been set. So the hook of the ad is 80% of the work. So we're gonna spend a lot of time on hooks here. And just to drive my point home, if you guys are running ads to book sales calls, your funnel probably looks something like this. You have an ad that goes to a landing page, that goes to a VSL, that goes to a booking form, and then goes to a sales call where the deal actually gets closed and the money gets made on the sales call. So I'm gonna show you here 3 different scenarios of what it could look like from a metrics perspective if you spend 20 grand a month on ads. So if we look at just average metrics here on a normal average funnel, right? You're gonna spend about 20 grand, you're gonna have about $50 CPMs, it's pretty standard. A 0.8% click-through rate is like not bad. You can have profitable ad campaigns if you see here. We have a 2.5x on this ad campaign, which is great. That's not bad by any means. Like if you have a 2.5x, like go spend more money on ads. However, I would say that a 1% click-through rate is a good click-through rate. Anything below that is average to bad. If it's below 0.5%, that is a bad ad. If it's above 1%, you are going to be filthy rich. So getting above 1% click-through rates is a major key. If you see here, I have a little screenshot of a 4.6% click-through rate, which made us insanely profitable on our ads. So let's look at 2 scenarios here, right? If you increase your close rate from 25% to 40%, what difference does that make in your acquisition process? You would go from a 2.5x over to a 4x ROAS, which is phenomenal, right? Going from a 2.5 to a 4 makes a world of a difference. You put 20 grand in, you get 80 grand out. That's a 30 grand a month increase, which is huge. And that 30 grand is straight profit as a world of a difference. But if we were to just look at just increasing our click-through rate, which is basically that metric just means the people who see an ad versus the people who actually click on it to go off of Meta as a platform and go onto your website. What percentage of people see that ad and then click? That's click-through rate. If we change that to a 2.5% click-through rate, which keep in mind here, this is literally half of the ad that I'm showing you guys up here that I made. That puts you at a 7.x ROAS. Yes, you can make another $107,000 a month just by making a better ad. Now, is it easier to make a better video ad or a better ad in general versus taking a whole close rate and almost doubling what your team is closing? That comes with tons of training, that might come with hiring new salespeople. It's so much harder to nearly double a close rate than it is to triple a click-through rate. And you can get a way higher return on making a big boost in a click-through rate than you're going to make by increasing a bottom of funnel metric, like increasing a close rate or a show rate. So that is why I believe wholeheartedly that increasing your click-through rate by making better ads is the biggest lever that you could pull to increase your acquisition process and increase your ROAS, your return on ad spend from running ads on Meta. If you think of your client acquisition process kind of like a garden hose, right? Where you twist a little knob and like more water comes out of a little garden hose, right? But sometimes there's kinks in that garden hose, right? I think of the kinks in the garden hose, whether they're minor or whether they're literally stopping the water from coming through, as these bottom of funnel metrics like getting more people to go through your form, getting a higher booking rate, getting a higher close rate, as like a little kink in a hose. But could you get more water through that hose by simply turning the water pressure from 10% to 100% versus having the water pressure at 10% and then trying to get all these kinks out of the hose? What gets more water through the hose? Obviously, just cranking the water pressure to be all the way full. So let's just talk about what actually makes up the makeup of an ad, right? It's very simple. You just have your hook, you have your body, you have your CTA. If you're watching my channel, you probably already know this. This isn't necessarily rocket science. If you're new to ads, that might be a new concept to you. But like our boy David Ogilvy always tells us, 80% of your spend has already been spent after the headline, right? And he's in the olden days of like, writing written ads, so it's gonna be a little bit different. We're now talking about video ads. So that headline is basically gonna be the hook in this scenario, which is the first 3 seconds of your ad. As you know, in the world of short form content, it is a game of getting people's attention. And if your hook sucks, they're gonna scroll past you. You have about a second, maybe a second and a half to get people to stop scrolling and actually watch your ad, or even if it's a piece of content. So what I'm gonna break down here is 7 different types of hooks that you can use to make banger ads that give you crazy click-through rates on your ads. So in the examples of the types of hooks that I'm gonna be making, I'm gonna use the example of this business called Bustum. So this is ran by Oliver Mercado. I was actually just on a consulting call with him, helping him with his ads. And no, I don't do coaching. I was just helping a brother out. I run a software company. I have no coaching or courses or masterminds to sell you here. I just wanna give you guys free games so you can make more money inside of your business. What his business does is it's called Bustum. So he used to run an e-com brand called Tabs. He now exited and sold that brand, and now he's running Bustum, which is a software/agency business that basically finds e-com brands that have copycats, people that are stealing their product and making variations of them, getting those products and getting those businesses that are copycats taken down. This can hurt the brand reputation. It can steal sales from these businesses. It's a very cool business. So I'm gonna make all these hooks about this specific thing. So we're gonna start off simple with an identification hook, right? It could be as simple as this. And I think sometimes people overcomplicate ads, and sometimes you literally just need to say, this is who this ad is for. So he specifically wants brands that are doing above 100 grand a month. So I would just say, if you're an e-com brand doing over 100K a month, this is for you. That's an identification hook. It's literally like, this is who I'm identifying. I want you to watch this. If you're not that, then get off of this ad right now, right? If I were a gym and I were targeting moms, I would say, hey, if you're a mom in the Chicago area looking to lose some weight, this is for you, right? Like, I think people overcomplicate making sure that they get the right people viewing their ads and the right people through your funnels. And sometimes simply saying who that is makes it very simple. And especially if you're going after a more qualified avatar, like a bigger business or something like that, you have to literally say who it's for, because they're naturally going to assume that all ads are not for them because it's for the smaller crowd or businesses smaller than them. So by calling them out, you're just immediately going to get higher qualified leads. So if you run a business trying to get these bigger businesses that you're running ads to B2B, I would highly recommend just saying the revenue level and the type of business that you're after. If you don't, you're gonna get smaller fish coming through. So if you run the type of business, identification hooks can be great for you. I will say they're not the most scroll stopping, insane ads in the world, so you're probably not gonna get click-through rates like this, but you can still hope and pray that it might happen. So let's go into a pain hook, and I love pain hooks. One of my most profitable ads I ever ran was targeting door-to-door sales reps, and it simply said, if you're a door-to-door sales rep tired of sweating your ass off only to talk to people that don't even want what you sell, then listen up. It's a little bit of a pain hook, a little bit of an if-then hook, but we'll get there, all right? So let's keep the focus on Bustum, the e-com brand, and go for a pain hook for this specifically. So if you think about the frustrations that an e-com brand would go through if, let's say I'm, Rode mics here, and I have someone calling it Rude instead of Rode, and they're selling cheaper mics that have a bunch of issues. They could literally have a bunch of issues, and then people could now think that Rode is a bad brand that doesn't work. It's a cheap Chinese knockoff brand, right? We don't want that to hurt our brand reputation. So by having these knockoffs, they're getting sales stolen from them. They are getting their reputation ruined, and they're getting a bunch of bad reviews on their product when they're not even actually buying their product, they're buying another product. So a simple pain hook could be tired of copycat e-com products ruining your brand reputation. I can't even write here, but you get the point. Ruining your brand reputation, right? That would be a great pain-based hook, right? Because if I'm going after e-com brands, ideally doing over 100 grand a month, that's dealing with this specific problem that I solve, within the first 2 seconds, I can immediately get all of these e-com brands that are getting copied and it's pissing them off to stop scrolling. So they're like, holy shit, this is me. So it's partially an identification hook because they're identifying with the problem, and I'd have to make a whole other video about the levels of awareness. But the biggest segment of your market is gonna be aware of their problem, but they might not be aware that there's actually solutions for this problem. So you can get the biggest piece of the pie of your market by going for pain-based hooks. And that's where you can get some filthy click-through rates. So that's an example of a pain-based hook. You can apply this to your specific business. Let's go for a question-based hook. It could be as simple as this. Have you ever seen a knockoff of your e-com product on Amazon? Have you ever seen a knockoff version of your e-com product listed on eBay, Amazon, or Shopify? Have you ever seen ads for a knockoff of your ecom brand's product? Any of these variations of that would be a great question-based hook. Because again, if you're asking that question, humans hate open loops. It drives them crazy. And some of the best hooks are open loops, right? It's a problem that has not yet been solved. It's this question where there's not necessarily been an answer. So if you say, have you ever seen a knockoff of your product? They're gonna be like, I have. Like, what's the answer? What's the solution to this question? I don't have an answer to this question. Now I have to stay through the rest of this ad to figure out what this guy's talking about because I have seen that before. My answer is yes, I have. Question-based hooks work really freaking well. So I didn't write that one down because my handwriting is horrendous, but you guys get the drill, right? If we're going for a desire-based hook, let's think about this for a second. Imagine being the only ecom product available for sale that solves your problem. And then you go on to say how they could create a monopoly being the only product that solves their problem because we take down all of the copycats and any of the ecom products that are similar to yours or are copying off or ripping off your product. That now gets them into a desired state of, man, I could be a freaking monopoly to where my ecom product could literally take over this specific industry or niche of what it is that I do. That would be amazing. Like that would be my desired outcome as an ecom brand, is to be a monopoly, right? To literally take over that whole niche, that whole sector. And they start thinking, well, damn, if that could happen for me, how much more money would I make? I bet it would be a whole lot cheaper than this service that's being promoted on this meta ad, right? So that would be a great example of a desire-based hook. When we're going into number 5, think of this if-then, it's basically like a compound sentence. It's like if insert problem, then insert solution. Or if insert problem, then do this action that I'm asking you to do. This is very common in sales. Like if you're doing a cold call as an example and you say, hey, if I could show you a way to triple your Google ad traffic, would it be worth a 30-minute conversation tomorrow? Right? That's like if I solve this problem for you or give you this big payoff, then would you be open to doing this action for me? That's the basis of an if-then statement. So if we're doing this in the context of Buckstone, the business, if you run an ecom brand and you've seen copycats ripping off your product, then stay to the end of this video because I have a way to solve that problem for you. So if you're getting copied and ripped off, then I'm asking you to complete watching this video and complete watching this ad because I have a payoff if you stay 60 seconds to watch the rest of this video. And the way that I want you to view this, right, is your hook is selling them on watching the rest of the ad. Your body is educating them on who you are and why they should work with you. And then your CTA is selling the click. And I'll go deeper on bodies and CTAs a little bit later in the video. So we can now check this off because your boy doesn't want to do all this handwriting. Now, listicles are the next topic. This is number 6. And a listicle is pretty simple. I know you know what they are. You just might not know it in that specific word. A listicle is a list. An example of a listicle hook would be, here's 3 ways copycats are ruining your ecom brand's reputation. Here's 5 ways that copycats are stealing revenue from your ecom brand. If there's a list of 3 or a list of 5, I'm now like, hey, yeah, this is happening to me. What are the steps? So they're not going to leave at step 1 or step 2 because they want to finish off the list. So it's a great way of basically selling people through the hook and staying through the entirety of your ad all the way until the end when you obviously have a CTA and you ask them to do something in the ad, go somewhere, go to your website, stuff like that. So that is an example of a listicle, and listicles work really well. If you look at viral content, a lot of times it's, here's 3 ways to do this, here's 5 ways to do that, right? Just humans hate open loops. And again, by not finishing off a list and an ad, it drives you crazy because it's an open loop, then the loop hasn't been completed until the person making the video finishes that list. So that is an example of a listicle hook. Now storytelling, I love storytelling ads. Stories are human nature at its core, right? When we were Neanderthals, when we were cavemen, and we were sitting around a fire, what did? We told stories because it's all that we could do. Stories were captivate human attention. And a well-told story could be a huge, huge, huge lift in your click-through rate and help you make banger ads. So if I'm thinking about this and I'm like, all right, I'm Bustum as a business, I'm trying to get these ecom brands to use my service to get them to take down these copycats if they're dealing with this problem. What if I told a story of an ecom brand or a product that got ripped off in a really bad way and had a bunch of negative consequences as a result of having a copycat copy their product? I had to do a little bit of research on ChatGPT, but within seconds, I was able to find a banger story because obviously this isn't my business. I could tell the story of what happened with Steve Madden, yeah, the one from the Wolf of Wall Street, the women's shoes product, and a company called Ganni, right? It's Ganni. Basically, what happened is Steve Madden is a women's shoe brand. Ganni actually ripped off the bestseller of Steve Madden shoes and made an identical version and just slapped Ganni on it instead of Steve Madden. They did $13 million in shoe sales ripping off this product before Steve Madden caught on to it. And then they had to take them to court and get them taken down. And they had a bunch of expenses and legal fees, right? So if I were using this as a hook to tell the story, and I were to basically make a whole ad, because we're about to get into the bodies and the CTAs. So I'm gonna give you guys a little sneak peek into the bodies and CTAs, right? If I were to come up with an ad on the spot for this right now, I would say, did you hear the story about the Steve Madden brand that got ripped off by Ganni and stole $13 million in sales and incurred millions in legal fees? Here's the story. They ripped off their bestseller. Before Steve Madden even knew about it, they stole $13 million in sales from Steve Madden before they had to take them to court. They had an insane amount of legal fees, and ultimately the lesson from the story is copycats for your e-com brand can cost you millions. They can ruin your reputation because these Ganni shoes were made super cheap. People thought Steve Madden shoes were bad because they thought they were Steve Madden shoes because they were identical to them. And it stole $13 million in sales from people who otherwise would have spent money with Steve Madden. This story killed me because this actually happened with my last e-com brand. So much so that I built a company called Bustem to where we actually take down these copycats to prevent your brand from being destroyed, sales being stolen from you, and having negative reviews on your website for people that aren't even actually buying your product. You can click the link below and go to my website to figure out how it works so we can take down the copycats from your e-com brand once and for all if you're doing above 100 grand a month in revenue. Click the link below and watch the video on the next page. That would be an example of a storytelling hook, a body, and a CTA if I were Bustem. Let me just say, please, please, please do not use cheap ass hooks of like viral videos that are like a jump scare. I'm sure you've seen these and you know what I'm talking about. Like the video of like the pitcher throwing a baseball, the person swinging, and then the baseball hitting the camera, and it's like, whoa, you know, as you're watching it, and then it flips into a whole other ad. That is the cheapest, shittiest hook that you could ever have. And it's literally confusing Meta's ad algorithm. It's one of the smartest ad algorithms on the planet, and that's why I'm so bullish on Meta ads out of any other ad platform, even though other ad platforms work great, because you're stopping everyone to actually watch the ad, and then it's confusing Meta by seeing people who are not e-com brand owners doing over 100 grand a month and dealing with copycats as a problem. And now it's gonna start serving the ads to those people who actually stop and watch those ads more frequently, who aren't e-com brands. That's gonna make your ad costs go up because it's being served to the wrong people. So please use the 7 hooks that I've listed out here. Don't use cheap hooks just to try to get more people to stop and watch your ads. Just make better ads and stop being cheap about it. Just be better. And if your head is spinning a little bit about what ads to make for your business, my software company Objectionably will actually help you with this. We actually integrate with call recording software. So if you have a sales team and you're booking sales calls, we actually read all that sales call data to give you 20 different marketing angles that you can use to make ads, to make emails, and different stuff for your landing pages, like anything marketing and copy related, we can help you with. So we actually give you the top objections, top desires, top pain points, top buying reasons here. And you could use these 20 angles based on what's actually coming out of your prospect's mouth to make banger ads. We even have a cool feature to where you can actually self-generate ads based on one of these 20 topics. So literally just create a free account. We have free 14-day trials. If you click the first link in the description and click on objectionably.com, you'll see a quick little video explaining how the software works. You can create a free 14-day trial and you can actually generate ads and see what angles come up for your specific business. So give it a try. So next, let's cover the body and the CTA. Just how David Ogilvy says 80% of your marketing dollars are spent on the hook, I'm naturally gonna spend way more time in this video on hooks for ads versus the body and the CTA of ads. But here's some game that I will give you. If you can get people to just actually watch your ad, that is half the battle. The next piece of things is literally just to not confuse them and tell them what to do next. So in your body, what you wanna do is just say, who you and your company is, right? Like when I was creating an ad on the spot for Bustem and I went through the body and the CTA, hi, my name is Oliver Bercata. I used to run an e-com brand. It was getting ripped off. And that story of Steve Madden getting ripped off inspired me so much to create this company called Bustum. What Bustum is and what we do is we take down copycats of e-com brands. And then I went right into what problems we can actually solve for you, because no one buys stuff that doesn't actually solve problems. So I would just say, so if you're dealing with copycats for your e-com brand, we can actually take them down on a pay per results basis. And then if we were to go into social proof, we want to know that, okay, maybe you have this company and you can solve this problem, but does it actually work? Have you done this for other people like me? So then I would go into, I've done this for this brand and this brand and this brand and this brand, and ideally they're big brand names that people actually know and recognize. If you say a brand of a company no one's ever heard of, no one really cares. But if you say it from a brand that they do know of, if you said for Peloton and Rode mics and Sony cameras, they're like, damn, I've actually heard of those brands. If they work with these huge brands, then obviously I should trust them with my brand, because they're solving this problem for brands that are massive. So if they trust that one, then clearly I gotta trust this guy, right? It's kind of a transfer of trust. That's the body of an ad. More times than not, when people are actually going through your funnel, they might not actually watch your video sales letter on your page. They might skip through everything. If they see the ad, they're like, all right, this is interesting. I think I want this. Let's see what's going on here. They're gonna go to your website, click through stuff as fast as possible. They're probably not gonna fully digest all of it. And then they might just book a call right then and there. So ideally, the more education and the longer you can get people to sit through your entire ad, the more educated they're gonna be on your business and your process. So I think in the body, making sure you cover who you are, who your company is, why you built what you built, what you can actually solve for them, and the social proof will help them get pretty dang educated on what's going on, even if they don't watch a single thing on your website after this. Ideally, obviously they do all of that, but it gives you a little bit of insurance. And might I add, Meta, if you think about what they want as a company, they want people to stay on their platform for as long as possible. So your CPMs, right, your cost per 1,000 views on your ad will get drastically cheaper if you can get people to stay on your ad for a minute and a half versus getting someone on your ad for 15 seconds and then leaving the platform. If they can keep someone on their platform for another minute and 15 seconds, they're going to make your ads cheaper. So do as much explanation. Don't blab and yap too much, but try to keep them on your ad for as long as possible. Your results will get cheaper, and then your ROAS will obviously go up. So that's the body of an ad. For your CTA, be direct, right? I think people try to get too fancy with CTAs, call to actions, and people literally don't know what to do next. If you have a pretty, tech savvy, social first avatar, they're gonna know what to do if they're marketers at heart. My avatar for my software company are primarily marketers, sales managers. These are people that are usually running ads. They already have sales teams. They kind of know how an ad works. So I can get away being a little bit more lax with my CTAs, but just be direct. Be like, hey, click the link below or click that learn more button at the bottom of this ad. It's gonna take you to my website on the next page. Go ahead and watch that video explaining how it actually works, and then book in a call if you're interested in using my services. I've tested this. The more thorough you are in your CTA, I'm not saying just click the link below. They're like, well, why would I click the link below? I was pretty happy scrolling and watching my Instagram reels and going through my brain rot. I don't really want to stop doing that. But if you're click the link below, you're gonna watch a video to understand how this actually works a little bit deeper than I could do in a 60-second ad. And then if you want to use my services to get these copycats to stop copying your brand, then book a call with me directly or book a call with my team, and we can help you fix this for your specific business, right? That is a more direct, telling you exactly what to do, dare I say, retard-proof way of having a CTA. So that is how you do CTAs. And then also, make sure that it's actually congruent with your landing page, right? People that sell coaching and courses, they do this stuff a lot, to where they'll say, oh, click on the link below and then go to my website to get this free training. And then if their free training is literally just a VSL, just hard selling them, they click off the VSL. So your CTA has to be congruent with your landing page. You have to make sure that the thing you're saying that they're gonna see on the other side is actually true. If it's not, then maybe you're gonna get a good click-through rate, but no one's gonna opt into your funnels and book in your sales calls. Make sure that you sell the click, don't sell the product, right? So for my software, Objection Link, Like I told you, we integrate with call recording software. We read sales call data to understand why people buy and why people don't buy. We save sales managers a ton of time doing call review, and we help marketers understand what's going on in prospects' heads and why they actually buy and why they actually don't buy. So the copy that they actually write is actually hitting the pain points and the real problems of these people, so their marketing is better and they get cheaper cost per acquisition and they get a bigger return on ad spend for their marketing efforts. I'm not gonna say all that though, right? If you go back to the CTA that I just had in this YouTube video, I didn't tell you all that. I say, hey, you can get 20 marketing angles. You just create a free account right now. You can figure out how the rest of the software works immediately afterwards. But I'm just selling the click of getting you guys to go create a free trial. I'm not trying to sell you my entire product and running through pricing and all that stuff. I just sold the click to my website. I didn't sell the whole product. So make sure you sell the click, not the whole product. And so that's it for this video. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like this video and you want more videos on marketing, on building sales teams, on managing sales reps, hiring sales reps, and different stuff like that. And I'll see you guys on the next video.